10-year-old boy with a high fever carried his sleeping 4-year-old sister from their locked basement. The storm had been raging for hours, pounding the earth with a fury that seemed almost personal. Somewhere in a quiet corner of a small American town, beneath the unrelenting roar of thunder and rain, a 10-year-old boy named Liam lay feverish on the damp basement floor. His skin burned hot to the touch, his breathing shallow and strained, and each heartbeat thudded like a hammer in his ears. But none of that mattered. Not the fever. Not the pounding in his head. Not even the darkness that had swallowed the house since the power went out. What mattered was the fragile bundle curled up beside him, his little sister, Emma, just 4 years old, fast asleep in his arms, her tiny chest rising and falling in a rhythm he clung to like a lifeline. They were locked in. The door had slammed shut hours ago when their mother rushed upstairs after the tornado warning blared across the TV. Liam had been too slow, too weak from his fever to make it up in time, and Emma had stayed behind with him. The old latch had snapped, trapping them both. He had pounded on the door at first, shouted until his throat ached, but the howling wind outside had swallowed his cries. Now the only sound in the basement was the groan of old wood, the dripping of rain through cracks, and Emma's soft, peaceful breathing. Liam's head was spinning, but he forced himself upright. His body screamed for rest, but something deeper, something fierce and bright, pushed him forward. Emma stirred in her sleep, murmuring something about their dog Max and Christmas cookies. He pressed his forehead gently to hers and whispered, "I'll get us out. I promise." With trembling hands, he wrapped her in the blanket from the cot, securing her small body against his chest. She was so light, but his legs felt like they were made of wet cement. Every step toward the basement stairs was a battle. He stumbled once, crashing into the wall, biting back a cry. He couldn't wake her. She needed sleep. She needed to feel safe. Liam had always been quiet, the kind of kid who listened more than he spoke. But inside him lived a strength few had ever seen. His father used to say, "Still waters run deep." And tonight, in the shadows of that flooded basement, Liam's quiet courage surfaced with the force of a tidal wave. At the base of the stairs, he paused. The basement was old, and the wooden steps creaked ominously under his weight. One wrong move could send them both tumbling back down. He shifted Emma carefully and started the climb, his fingers clawing the railing, his breaths ragged. Midway up, his legs gave out, and he collapsed on the step, forehead pressed to the cold wood. Tears blurred his vision. He was so tired. So hot. His body begged him to sleep. But then he felt it. Emma's tiny fingers, still clutching the collar of his shirt in her sleep, trusting him completely even in her dreams. With a guttural sob, Liam pushed on. At the top, he faced the door. The handle wouldn't budge. It was locked tight. Desperation surged in him like a second fever. He kicked. He pounded. His fists were too small. The wood too thick. And then he remembered the rusted tool chest by the water heater. He laid Emma down gently on the old welcome mat and crawled back down the stairs, his vision swimming. Every step was like wading through fire. He fumbled through the chest, coughing and shivering, until his fingers closed around a rusted crowbar. He made his way back, dragged the bar into place, and jammed it into the crack between the door and the frame. He heaved with all his might, his body shaking violently. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a crack. Then a splinter. Then, with a deafening snap, the door burst open, and cold, rain-laced air flooded the basement. Liam collapsed to his knees in relief. He scooped Emma up and staggered into the hallway, past the overturned furniture and flickering candles, toward the front door that had been blown open. The wind roared around them, and he saw the flashing lights of emergency vehicles at the end of the street. Their house had taken a hit. The roof partially torn off. He didn't know if his mother had made it out. He didn't know anything, except that he had to get Emma to safety. With the last of his strength, he stepped out into the storm. The rain lashed his face. His fever surged again. His legs wobbled beneath him. He didn't know how far he could go. But he walked. Past their mailbox. Past the old oak tree split by lightning. Toward the flashing lights. Toward help. Toward hope. He made it 20 more feet before he collapsed, shielding Emma with his body as they hit the muddy grass. The next thing he knew, he was blinking up at a paramedic's face, her voice kind and firm. "We've got you. You're safe now." She's safe. Emma was in another medic's arms, still asleep, still dreaming her innocent dreams. Liam tried to smile, but everything went dark. He woke up 2 days later in a hospital bed, for in his arm, warm light streaming through the window. His fever had broken. He turned his head and saw Emma asleep on a cot beside him, a coloring book clutched in her arms. Their mother was there, too, eyes swollen from crying, face pale with worry, but when she saw Liam's eyes flutter open, she let out a breathless laugh and kissed his forehead 1,000 times. "You saved her," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You saved both of you." News of Liam's bravery spread fast. A local reporter did a piece on him. 10-year-old hero rescues sister from storm-ravaged home. His story touched hearts far beyond their small town. Donations poured in to help rebuild their home. People sent letters, toys for Emma, books for Liam. One man, a firefighter from another state, wrote, "Your strength reminded me why I do what I do." A woman from Boston sent a check with a note that read, "You reminded me that even in our darkest hours, light shines through. Thank you." But Liam didn't feel like a hero. He hadn't done it for praise. He'd done it because Emma was his sister. Because when the world seemed to crumble around them, love held them together. He'd done it because even a child, sick, scared, and alone, can find within themselves the courage to protect what matters most. Months later, their new home was finished. On the wall in the hallway hung a framed photo of Liam and Emma, taken the day they left the hospital, smiling, arms wrapped around each other. Underneath, in small silver letters, were the words, "Still waters run deep." The story of Liam and Emma became more than a tale of survival. It became a testament to the quiet strength that lives in all of us. A reminder that sometimes, the smallest hands carry the greatest weight. That even in the fiercest storm, compassion can be the most powerful force of all. And somewhere in that small town, when the rain begins to fall and the wind howls through the trees, people remember the boy who walked through a storm, burning with fever, with love as his only guide, and they hold their loved ones a little closer. They whisper thanks a little louder. And they believe, even if just for a moment, in the limitless power of the human heart.